Hey, it's Noah. Welcome back to iHollywood TV, where you can catch our next guest as a co-anchor every weekday morning on NewsNation's Morning in America. She also has a book out titled Your Hidden Superpower, The Kindness That Makes You Unbeatable at Work and Connects You with Anyone. Please welcome, joining us from the NewsNation studio, Adrienne Bankert. Good morning, Adrienne.
Hello, Noah.
How are you? Good morning.
I am fabulous. I am amazing. Almost as amazing as your jacket.
Thank you. Well, I thought, oh, you're wearing red. I have to wear something red and sparkly, right? You know?
Well, your set is nice and red and sparkly. I've got the beautiful Morning in America clouds behind me, so we've got a little something for everybody today.
Oh, I love it. Adrienne's floating in the clouds. Adorable.
A little taste of heaven.
Anyway, you guys, I met Adrienne when we were on set of The Chosen in Texas, and boy, what a fun time that was. That was a whole lot of fun, wasn't it?
That was fun. We ate a lot. We laughed a lot. We had some great conversations. The cast is so sweet. Powerful show.
Well, Adrienne, let's go ahead and get started. So first off, before joining News Nation, you served as a national correspondent for ABC News, covering major stories in news, sports, and entertainment. What did that job teach you the most about your career as a journalist that has now led you to the table hosting Morning in America on News Nation?
Well, I always wanted to be anchoring my show. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever that looked like. When I started off in the business, I started off as a traffic girl. That's what they would call me. But I was the traffic anchor. I was the one that pointed out, hey, you know, Interstate 80 is blocked right now by an accident or construction, and you want to use a side road. But then I'd always had these aspirations to be on national TV, and doing it with Good Morning America and ABC News was definitely the fulfillment of a dream that I'd had since I was a little kid. I got to travel the entire world. I got to interview the biggest names in Hollywood, from Dwayne Johnson to Brad Pitt, Lady Gaga, Ryan Reynolds, and go to these beautiful places. I mean, Toronto, Prague, Budapest, Tokyo, Hong Kong. I mean, I could just keep going. Wow. And it just really taught me how to remain versatile. There are so many people who are talented there, who have a level of excellence that you only see at those kinds of major corporations, the biggest sports and entertainment company in the world. And I didn't get a lot of sleep. And so that definitely prepared me for Morning in America. When I came on, I solo anchored 3 hours of live television.
Wow.
And you got to do more than one job. You're not just sitting there reading a teleprompter. You're staying current with the big picture of the show. You're rewriting several scripts. And those are the kinds of things that I created muscle memory for when I was writing on planes and in hotel rooms and juggling schedules and time zones with ABC News.
Now, you've been able to conduct many interviews with an array of celebrities, but one in particular was with the late basketball titan Kobe Bryant. What do you fondly remember the most from your interview with Kobe? Like, how was it like to get that moment to spend some time with him?
I really, when I heard he passed, it was like I wanted to turn the clock back to that day. And I thought, could I have done anything different? Could I have said anything different? Because life just, you really see the brevity of life, right? It had only been a handful of months before that I had met him when that helicopter came down. He was such a gentleman, Noah. He was such a nerd. And I mean that in the sweetest way. He had, he told me he loved basketball and he was so fortunate to be able to play a sport he loved, but he loved writing more. And he had planned to take his book, which was the Wizenard series, which was a fantasy novel for youth, and to turn it into a Broadway production. That was his dream.
Oh, wow.
And he was geeking out about this, and it was just so cool to see a different facet of him that you never saw on the court.
Well, that was incredible that you got to speak with him. And Dwayne Johnson was also one. Oh, Dwayne's so
multiple
tall.
times.
Like, how was it like to?
Yes.
How was that
times.
like?
He's 6'5". His bicep is as large as my head. And that's saying something. And he was just a sweetheart. He is such a gentle giant. He makes time for, he's lauded by fans. So everywhere he goes, he's, like most of the people I've interviewed, one of the most recognizable people in the world. You don't see Dwayne Johnson in a grocery store and just shrug and think he's an everyday Joe. And so people would try to get their autograph or take pictures, and he would oblige as many as possible, even though he's busy. He's a busy man, but he's so generous. And he was so generous with me, because when you sit down and you have a conversation, it's a mutual exchange. It's a trust. Even if you're only sitting down for 20 minutes, you're allowing that person to open up, and you're giving something. You're both giving and you're both receiving it. He's lovely.
Now, as you mentioned previously, you worked at KABC in Los Angeles before making the move to New York News to now living in Chicago to tape with News Nation. How have you seen your task as a journalist and stories in your career continue to evolve and challenge you to a higher level?
I think that for me, and I've always been this way, I've always wanted to tell news, just straight talk. I didn't want people to know what my personal opinions were, except for when I thought something was a whole lot of nonsense. I was willing to call that out and be like, this is silly. Can we talk about this for real?
Yeah.
This reality check. I've always had that little slice of my personality. I don't know if it's going anywhere. Though just making sure that I deliver it in a gentler way sometimes is effective. But for me, it's about telling stories in a way that other people aren't telling them. You don't want to just do different stories just to be different. Then you get into some weird, because you're just trying so hard to get likes or views, like clickbait, and that's not what I'm trying to do. But I think that people are fed up with the standard, let me just tell you the news and not show any emotion. These are emotional stories. We're dealing with an emotional time. We are an emotional people, and it's like, I'm doing this story right now with News Nation, where I sat down, I was able to go to Oprah Winfrey's former personal chef's home. He owns several restaurants.
Yes.
And he came to the restaurant where I was dining, and he pointed out that there were some immigrants eating in the restaurant at the same time. And he says, yeah, I have them over at my house all the time. Would you like to come to dinner? So guess who's coming over for dinner? Adrienne Bankert and a group of Venezuelan immigrants. And we get to talk, and he lets the cameras come in, and we share what their opinions are about America, what their journey was like, which was death-defying, what they think about being here, working here, patriotism, and what they think of both President Trump and President Biden's border policies. I don't know anybody who's ever sat down to dinner with a group of immigrants in the history of this story of us reporting on the border crisis. We always see these masses of people scared, starving, tired, and then we never hear from them again. And I'm like, why don't we? The story's not over. The story's just beginning.
Talk to me about the immigration crisis. What did they tell you that really shocked you and moved you in some sort of way?
I had no idea that these young men had been traveling and nomadic, migrating for years. I mean, these aren't people who just left one day and said, we're going to America. These are men who started off, they just wanted a better job. In Venezuela, they told me that the average salary is $6 a month. That's the average worker's wage for a person, able-bodied person who wants to feed their family. You cannot live on $6 a month. So then they get multiple jobs. That's why criminality is so high and rampant in some of these countries. They told me that the governments became socialist. These are their words. That there was just corruption like crazy. So they would go to the nearby country. They went from Venezuela to Peru. Peru, they said, the government became corrupt. The economy went down. So they went to Chile. In Chile, the government became corrupt and the social and economic status of that country went down. They kept going to countries thinking, I'm going to find the promised land somewhere nearby so I can go back to Venezuela and send money home to my family. Nothing. So they kept trekking, and they ended up saying, you know what, we got to go to America. And 5, 7 to 10 years down the road, I mean, these men are in their 20s. They decided to leave when they were a teenager, some of them. And they haven't seen their moms or grandmothers, they said, in 6 or 7 or 10 years. And so I think that's what's shocking, is that this is not just a crisis. This is a generational, a multi-generational problem that needs solving. And, America, it's at America's doorstep, no matter where you live.
Now, Adrienne, I didn't know this about you, but you used to work at a McDonald's drive-thru to help pay your way through school, and you still wear a necklace in the shape of a French fry as a way to remember the hard work involved in your career journey. What did that specific job of working at the McDonald's teach you the most about being an adult that has actually helped bring some value to you as a journalist?
I was a lazy teenager. That's what it taught me, because I cleaned houses when I was a teenager. I was a bright girl, but some things I wish I would have done differently, including that I was the longest running employee at that McDonald's that had never become a manager. My managers would say to me, why aren't you a manager? I said, I don't want to be a manager at McDonald's. I got things to do. I got to go. And they were like, no, but you've been here so long. You could have been a manager, could have been making more money, could have been learning leadership skills, could have. I'm sure there are other incentives that I didn't even know about. But, the truth be told, my family, my grandfather owned some McDonald's franchises, which is why I have the necklace, because it's a collector item. I don't even know if anybody has a McDonald's necklace. But that was a legacy for me. And working there to me was like, I'm in the family business, even though I was making minimum wage. And I would often speak to people in drive-thru, and I would say things so that they would know very clearly what I was saying. It was important to me. And then many of them did not speak English. They spoke Spanish, because where I grew up, that town over where that McDonald's was like 70% Mexican immigrants. So it's kind of part of like a full circle moment. The story today, my history at McDonald's, and you know they have the best French fries. Tell me, try to tell me something different.
Even Michelle Obama said if she had to eat a fry from a fast food joint, it would be McDonald's.
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
Who doesn't love a McDonald's fry?
They're good. But you know what the secret is? The secret is when you go to McDonald's, you're in the drive-thru, right? Because you're busy. You order those fries and say, please make my fries without salt. And when you do that, they have to make a fresh basket, so they're extra piping hot, and then you just ask for the salt packets when you get to the window.
That is what I'm going to do every time now.
Tricks.
I've done it in the past, but I will do it every time now. Maybe they're watching you on News Nation. Maybe that McDonald's is turning on Adrienne and watching Morning in America while everyone's getting their food in the morning.
I still keep in touch with Patty, my manager from back in the day. She's attended some of my speaking events in Sacramento when I go back home to travel and speak at charitable events and all those kinds of things. She was a sweetheart to me, and I just think you never burn your bridge.
Oh. Now let's discuss your current book, available in bookstores and available to purchase online. The book is called Your Hidden Superpower, the kindness that makes you unbeatable at work and connects you with anyone, which is about resilience, facing competition, and dealing with negativity in the workplace. Talk to me about what made you want to write a book about empowering topics.
Well, my mentor, God rest his soul, Bill, he had told me, you need to write a book on kindness. And I thought, I'm not kind enough to write a book on kindness. Bill, you write a book on kindness. You're the nice one. And he says, no, he's like, you have a different perspective. And the truth is, I did. I really did. And part of why I did is because I saw, and it's true of any industry, I don't care where you work, I saw when really being kind, whether that meant kindly keeping your mouth shut, kindly giving someone a break when they were having a temper tantrum, because the fact is in every business you're going to see people lose their temper, have a hot moment, stress out, rather than judge them. You know, our leadership a lot of times gets blamed for a lot of things, but they also need a lot of compassion. Whenever you want to be a leader, there's so much pressure on you. And so when you see somebody go off, don't just decide to write them off. Decide to give them a break, because you're going to need that break when you come up, when you get promoted, because more people are watching you. More people are watching you, and more people are going to be harder on you. But let's be gentler with each other. Life is not easy right now. You're juggling maybe taking care of a parent, taking care of a child, maybe both. Financial pressure, stress in relationships, stress with not having certain dreams fulfilled by a certain age. Be kind, chill out. Don't be so hard on people. Give them another chance.
Amen, Adrienne. Preach, tell them. Yeah. We all need a little more kindness, a little more happiness. Yes. I mean, I just feel like just the lack of respect for one another is just not there anymore.
You're right.
And I'm like, what happened? You know, like.
You're right.
Can we just be kind to one another and love each other? I mean, we're all human. You know, we all have feelings.
And I think that you never know what somebody's going through, but a lot of times, and I've noticed this even in my business today, we'll be kind to someone who is kind to us, or we'll be kind to someone who is in need. But we won't be kind to someone who had a moment, multiple, who knows, that person could be going through the death of a loved one. I've had that happen to me. I was not myself when I was going through grief. I've had it happen where you're taking care of somebody who's sick. You don't feel like yourself all the time because you're under so much pressure. Why don't you take 5 and decide to give someone a pass? Give them the benefit of the doubt. That's true kindness, when it's not about you anymore. It's about how much mercy you can show. And I think all of us need that. And we need McDonald's French fries. So stop complaining if you're at McDonald's because you're happy and you're eating your French fries.
That's right, Adrienne. Now, in the book, you talk about hidden superpowers. What did it take for you to unlock your hidden superpower, Adrienne?
You know, one day, I traveled the world. Like I said, I've interviewed people that anybody would dream of meeting and chatting with and having real connections with them. But I still felt this gloom and doom. I don't know if I would call it depression, but I think a lot of people would categorize it in like a depressive category, or worry, or just sadness, like just kind of like a cloud hanging over, right? And I'm just like, what's wrong with me? I'm doing everything I said I wanted to do. I'm fulfilling my dreams for right now. You know, I had other dreams, but why isn't this enough? And the thought occurred to me, how would I act if everything was working out for me? Because I think sometimes, even if we're doing what we want to do, we're still concerned about what's going to happen next. And we're worried about, is it all going to work out? You know, am I going to find the love of my life? Am I going to have the career I say I want? Am I going to be able to afford a house? So I thought, well, what if I imagined what I would act like if everything worked out for me? And I thought, well, I'd be jumping up and down. I'd be the happiest girl in the world. This would be the best day ever if I knew for sure. You know, Oprah says, this is what I know for sure. If I knew for sure I was going to succeed in life, not just today, but in my destiny, I'd be the happiest girl in the world. So I changed my confession to say, I'm the happiest girl in the world and everything's working out for me. And I didn't concern myself as much with me. I concerned myself more with other people because now I know I'm taken care of. And in that step of kindness to myself, to believe in me, and in that step of kindness to actually prioritize others, that's when I unlocked a superpower, because fear gets eradicated, and when fear is gone, you become invincible. And that's when I unlocked my hidden superpower.
Now, Adrienne, just to kind of go back, you joined News Nation in April of 2021 as an anchor of the network's morning show, Morning in America, airing weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Since then, you recently got a co-host that now sits next to you, Markie Martin. How has it been to have another fierce woman in the morning news actually sit next to you every weekday morning?
You know, Markie and I met a year ago. I think it was fate. I reached out to her. We had never met before. We just, she saw me on TV. I saw her on TV. She was our Dallas correspondent. And I said, hey, I'm coming to your town because I have a doctor's appointment, because I still go down to Dallas every year for my physical. And she's like, oh my gosh, my husband's out of town. Why don't you come over? And so I came over, and we ended up staying up till 1 a.m. chit-chatting. And I think, there's a lot of examples of women in business working very well together, but it starts off a lot of times behind the scenes, off camera, with those moments that you couldn't predict. And we had so much in common. She was born in a big city, Dallas, raised in a little town, Ada, Oklahoma. I was born in a big city, Los Angeles, raised in a tiny town, Sheridan, California. And both of us are pretty much old souls. Both of us are obsessed with aesthetics and skincare and facials and spa days. And so that became a foundation for us to be able to have chemistry on camera. You can't manufacture chemistry. I can make anybody look good because I say I do. But it's something that takes time and nurturing and intentionality. And that, to me, is powerful, way more power than just having somebody who knows how to read a teleprompter well or has had experience in the business. I want to give an example of what it's like to actually show two women who have that natural, organic relationship, because so many women don't today. I mean, I just found out they have an AI girlfriend that you can sign up and pay $1 a minute to talk to some woman just so you can feel like you have a friend. Loneliness is pervasive. The Surgeon General just put out a report about it. I think that we need more examples of friendship and friendliness. You don't have to be a bestie, but show friendliness, because that's what everybody needs.
Well, this is the new version of Hoda and Jenna, Adrienne. That's right,
Well, it very well could be, except for we're going to be talking about facials instead of mimosas or something. Or whatever. And I know they talk about parenting. Neither one of us has kids yet, but relationships are so important to us. And I'm looking forward to the next chapter.
Well, I enjoy watching you both in the morning. Adrienne Bankert, thank you so much for your time.
Real quick. Can I just give a plug? Because I'm doing a book signing here in Chicago. So if you are in the Chicagoland area or not too far across the border in Indiana or maybe even Iowa, it's not that far of a drive. I'll be at the Barnes & Noble DePaul Center right here in downtown Chicago. Barnes & Noble DePaul Center on June 27th. That's a Tuesday, from 2 to 4 p.m. and I will be signing copies of Your Hidden Superpower. If you can't make it, you can always direct message me on Instagram. I'll get right back to you. And also, it's available on Audible. It's my voice narrated during the pandemic of all times. And I really love it because it has other stories besides the one you see in the book. But if you like Audible books, there you go. You're welcome.
Go see Adrienne and get your book signed. That's right, you guys. Be sure to catch Adrienne weekday mornings anchoring Morning in America on News Nation, and pick up a copy, like I said, of her book, now available in bookstores and online. Thank you, Adrienne. So nice to see you once again, my friend.
Good to see you again too, Noah. Thank you for having me on your show. Congratulations to all your success.
Hey, it's Noah, and I have some great news for you. We're now streaming on Fossum. The Must Watch Show is a weekly lifestyle series that shares informative information to help the viewer live an easier and better lifestyle with some of today's hottest deals and finds, along with interviews and fashion and the arts. I'll see you guys on Fossum because they're awesome.